Okay, Othman, how do you see the burqa? I mean, do you see it as an absolutely...
I didn't know there's such a thing as a non-practicing Muslim.
I think Mr. Mayard in the beginning, his comments were quite indicative, particularly because in France he has been banned, whereas in Australia the discussion's more at a beginning stage. I think the issue of the niqab is not, I will posit, an issue about the niqab itself. It comes in the context where all things Islamic in the West have increasingly come under the spotlight, whether we talk about mosques, masjids, the teaching of Quran in schools, halal food, so on and so forth, Muslim loyalties. We've had the values debate a few years ago. And so it's not about the cloth, but what it represents in terms of Islam itself and the Islamic revival. And this is where I bring, I think, Tanveer's comments. You know, I think he's the one that's given it a Western interpretation, but what we see is an Islamic revival on the global stage. And so, but this has been said before. Tony Blair in 2006, he said that the full-face veil is a mark of separation. And he went further to, very importantly, I think, say, or indicatively anyway, that there's a need not only to debate the full-face veil, but the place of Islam and how it fits in the modern world. So for me, for us, I think it's a very clear a discussion of values and differing values and the whole question of integration.
Now, can I ask you the same question I asked Sheikh Omran earlier? Sure. Because you're from an Islamic political group which has been banned in some other countries. And I just wonder whether you think the burqa and the niqab are central to being a Muslim woman. Do you think the wearing of these garments is central to being a Muslim woman?
That's an interesting question, but from the Islamic perspective, it's important to understand that Islam is vast in the sense that it allows for difference of opinion. And a thing can be Islamic even though there are different opinions. So the niqab is certainly Islamic, even though there are opinions which say it's obligatory.
So is there freedom for women to not wear it if they're Muslims? Yeah, no, but I'm asking
when we talk about freedom, Jenny, there's a very important distinction between law and fact, de facto and de jure, as there is in the Western law.
Yeah, but I want you to answer from your perspective, from your group. Yeah, as one Islamic group, do you think it's central to being a Muslim woman to cover your face like this? Is it central?
What I'm saying is the word central is not adding.
Well, do you think women should?
The point is that Islam has certain rules. It says that the hijab is obligatory on everyone. I'm answering the question.
Do you think it is central? But
Ruby, okay, Ruby, what did you want to say?
No, the problem is you're asking from a Western premise.
Ruby,
I think some men from the more extreme side of Islam do think it's central for women, but they want it to come across as if the women are doing it totally by choice, so that the men will never. Can we? This word choice has been bandied around a lot tonight. Can we just discuss the context of the choice? Yeah. This choice that women are made to wear the burqa. It is a patriarchal symbol. It was around before Islam. For the first 200 years of Islam, Muslim women were not required to wear the burqa. For 200 years, they were not required to be veiled. Okay? But as Islam spread, it absorbed the patriarchal traditions of the countries that it spread into. The burqa, the veil, whatever you want to call it, is one of those. The reason women... No, this is history. If you read history books besides the Quran...
Let her finish. If you could finish, Ruby.
It is a cultural symbol. It was absorbed by Islam, and for hundreds of years, scholars have been using religion as an excuse to keep women covered up. In a patriarchal society, women are viewed as sexual beings that are there to tempt men into immorality, and the reason they are covered up is so that they don't tempt...
Okay, quick response.
That's not history.
Quick response from you. Yes.
That's not history at all. That's not true. Stop making up stories.
Yes.
I used to wear the niqab.
Okay, Sheikh Omran, just wait a moment. Let this lady speak.
I wore the niqab for 4 years. I'm a 7th generation Australian. My mother is a 6th generation Australian. She grew up with Christian values. She converted to Islam in the early 70s. My mother now wears the niqab. She chose to wear the niqab.
I'm talking about people who have been raised in it and grown up in it. I'm talking about history.
And I decided to choose to wear the niqab at a stage in my life. At my spiritual journey, I decided at a time in my life...
The essential question that no one is answering is why are women taught?
You've been given the opportunity to speak, so I think it's important to let other people to speak.
All right, one at a time.
Does it matter why?
Of course it matters.
It is our choice.
Of course it matters. No, but I'm saying...
Why do you wear what you wear? It's up to you.
Well, because
why do you wear...
Why does he wear a suit?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, okay, Corey Bernardi.
Why does he
wear a suit?
Okay, everybody, we can't hear anyone speak. We can't hear anyone speak. Sheikh Omran, sorry everyone, please, quiet, time out. Okay, Sheikh Omran.
please. We didn't say we refused to answer, as two of them there said, I refuse to answer, or he refused. No, we don't refuse to answer the question. The question is there anyhow. In any book, as you, mashallah, studying and seeing the history of Islam, you should know the answer yourself. But the answer is not required here. We are not here debating a fiqh issue, a sharia issue. Is it sunnah, or it is compulsory, or it is not compulsory? That matter should be decided somewhere else, not here. We are not the people. No, excuse me.
You guys misunderstood her question. She never asked.
I just asked whether you think women should wear it, Sheikh Omran. That's all I'm asking you. Should women wear it?
You didn't say that. You said
no, I
it
did
is
say that.
essential.
I did say that.
You said essential of Islam.
I was just trying to get a clear answer from you about whether you think that women should wear the burqa.
Yeah, well, that's up to them. I told you that. I answered that question.
Okay, can I go? I'm going to go back to Doha. Tariq Ramadan, I want to ask you about this. Look at your face. I want to ask you about this question of choice and how you define choice in this context, because I think this is a fascinating debate around the issue of what is choice and what is not choice. As an Islamic scholar, how do you answer these questions, and how do you feel about the idea of a ban in that context?
Yes. Very, very quickly, just to be clear on that from the classical tradition, and this is the mainstream Islamic tradition with different interpretations, it is known that the Prophet's wives were wearing the niqab, and there are disagreements among scholars about is it an obligation for all the women or only for the Prophet's wife. So we have many interpretations and many positions. The great majority of the scholars today are saying it's not an Islamic prescription, and a minority of scholars are saying it is. The question here should be from within, to have an internal debates among Muslims about this position, and especially in the West. Now, if we speak about free choice, it should be clear. When we speak about the headscarf or when we speak about the niqab, no one can impose onto a woman to wear it. And this is an Islamic position. This should be a free choice. And no one should be imposing onto a woman to take it off. This is the way in the West we should act and behave. This is the way forward. So for me, I am not promoting it, and I want a debate with the women that you have even on your show to say, I don't think an Islamic prescription, but if this is your choice, we have to respect it. Now, let me say very quickly two things. The first thing is there is lots of hypocrisy on this, because when the princes coming from, petro-monarchies are going to come with their husband in the countries, who is going to ban them from entering? It's not going to happen, because they have the money to keep us quiet. This is the reality of how it works. The law are depending on the way we are dealing with the people. And this is why we are targeting some of the women in the minority. And let me say something which is critical in the discussion that you have tonight in Australia. At the end of the day, as it was said, the new generations, second and third, are more practicing, and the more educated are coming back to a practicing way of life, because they know more about Islam. And you cannot just say it's an identity crisis. Sometimes it is an identity crisis, sometimes it is a protest, and sometimes it's just a spiritual journey. Now, in our societies, the visibility of Islam is the critical point and question. Why? Because in my country, Switzerland, some are willing to ban the minarets, and then to ban the mosque, and then to ban the presence of the Muslims. The only good Muslims are the invisible Muslims. It's not going to be Australia anymore if we go in that direction. We need to work on a pluralistic dimension and to respect the symbols, as long as all the citizens and the residents are abiding by the law of the country.
Okay, just a quick comment from you, Jacques Millard. I just want to ask you specifically one question, which is, are you worried about a backlash in France against this decision to ban the burqa?
No, not at all. I think, it's very simple, because what Tariq Ramadan said by we are excluding Muslims from a society, he had the same argument for the question when we forbid the veil at school. And people say it will be awful, these poor girls will not come to school. Nothing of that happened, you know. Everything went smoothly, and all French citizens, Muslim or not, abide the law. So I think it's very simple. I am not a priest, I am not an imam, I am not a rabbin, and I am voting law which are implemented for all French citizens. Full stop. So this question of is it something that it is a religion prescribed or not, this is not my business. My business is that everyone lives on an equal footing, that we go face-free in the street, that we can recognize each other, and that
we have to
live in ghettos.
All right,
this female just said she won't be. She won't shake hands with men.
Freedom.
Okay, I'm sorry, gentlemen, we're out of time.
No,
I'm sorry,
Karen,
we're
absolutely no.
No, yes, we are. We are out of time, Jacques. I'm very sorry. I want to thank you very much for joining us from Paris tonight. We're going to keep this going online. And Tariq Ramadan, thank you very much for joining us from Doha as well. It's been excellent to have you both here. It's been a really interesting discussion. And thank you all too. Very lively night. And if you want to keep talking, you can talk to Amina Ghafour about what it's like to wear the burqa as well. We didn't even get to that. If you're in the eastern states, just hop onto our website and click on our live chat. Senator Cory Bernardi will be there as well, and Tanvir Ahmed is also happy to take your questions.